Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sweet Life. I'm your host, TJ Sweet, and on this podcast, we are committed to helping you go from where you are to where you want to be. And we help you do that by helping you reshape your mindset, learn how to live with intention, and look at this wonderful world through a grateful lens. So this week, we're going to talk about something that is incredibly powerful. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but how it can impact your life can be a great reminder of what you're capable of. But before we dive into this episode, I want to say thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening or watching. Your support every week means a lot to me and our team. It affirms that what we're doing is significant and making a difference in your life. So thank you for that. Hit that subscribe button now if you haven't yet so that you get notifications on Mondays. As you know, we call it Mindset Monday, so that you know that you are still growing and you have capabilities just well beyond measure. And every episode that we give you is for you. It's not something that we're not doing without intention. Everything that we do is for you, and it's to help you grow and become your best so that you can be the best for the people that you love and you're most grateful for. So that's a great segue into this topic, which is all about nurturing your inner child. Take some time to think, how did you feel as a kid? What were your thoughts? What brought you joy? Because I remember as a kid, some of the most simple things used to make me laugh, used to bring me joy. I used to believe that everything was possible. I used to have heroes and people I looked up to. I used to, be willing to try new things. I was more curious. And I remember when I was really young, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And something changes in all of us as we grow up. And I want to kind of push on that a little bit. And not that I'm going to say that it's for everybody, because some people, it doesn't impact them the same way. But there are times where we, as adults, we let life harden us more than it should. We let past experiences, past trauma, past, whether it's something that happened that let us down, just different things that happen in our lives really impact our belief of what's possible. So as we talk about this inner child, I want you to stop and think about what are things that you loved to do as a kid, and what are things that you had dreams about? Did you have a list of things you wanted to get done? Places you wanted to go visit? What were things that you loved doing back then? Because that person is still inside of you. And sometimes we just have to move some things out of the way to find more joy in every day. And part of this is really about kind of understanding this idea of self-love and loving yourself enough to know that you're worthy of joy. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to listen to music that makes you dance. It's okay to draw, play a musical instrument, do something, because that's actually what brings out the best in who we are. And once we start to love ourselves more than we judge ourselves, we start to take steps towards becoming the best version of ourselves. Not because we don't like where we are or we don't like who we are, but when your choices you're making are rooted in love, in self-love, your effort is improved, your desire is consistent, and discipline is something that you choose to do, not something you have to do. And whether this is something in your career, your personal life, just even in fitness and your wellness, when you do things out of love for yourself, your effort completely changes. And so when you start to think about how do you kind of pivot and how do you do some of these things, I want you to slow down and think about how you feel when you listen to some music that was released back when you were a kid. So that's going to be one of my calls to action is, even if you do it after you listen to this podcast, go back and listen to some music that you used to love to listen to. And I know it's silly, but when I was a kid, I used to listen to like this album that came out. It was called Jock Jams. And it was just a bunch of like fun, energetic dance music. And I started listening to that not too long ago again, just to do this, right? And this is all stuff, everything we talk about on this podcast is not just ideas and theories. These are actual things that me and the team that we do to actually show you that it's real, that it's possible. And so I listened to stuff like that and listened to old music that I used to listen to with my grandparents. And it brings back this innocence, this joy of just enjoy something for the sake of enjoying it. I have admittedly shifted away from that as an adult. I started to listen to more self-help, whether it's podcasts or YouTube videos or speeches or TED Talks. And I kind of just went down this rabbit hole of just listening to those things and watching those things because I wanted to grow and learn and become better for you and for this podcast and for the coaching and speaking that I do and for the opportunity to lead. But what I recognize is I fell out of balance. I fell out of the joy of music and finding some small moments. And so we, every once in a while, need this interruption. So I hope today this episode's that interruption for you. Yes, you can focus on what you need to be doing and be very serious about that because it's important to not play while you're at work, but it's also important to not work when it's time to play. And when we want to be our best at both, we have to recognize that there's a difference between the two. And so whether you're driving in the car, whether you're sitting in, starting your morning with something that makes you feel good, whatever it is, just know that anything that makes you feel good, whether it was when you were a child or whenever it's now, no matter what it is, it's worth it. It's not silly. You don't have to apologize for it. If it brings you joy, don't ever apologize for it. There's a lot of things that I do in my life that bring me joy that don't bring other people joy. And that's okay. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me so I can be my best for them. Now, I've talked about a couple different ways you can do this, but really it's individualized. It's for you. What brings out your creativity? What makes you feel playful and free? And, we have a new background today, as you can see. So maybe it's a sunrise and sunset. I know how I feel every time I see a sunrise and sunset. And I know that as a kid, I was amazed by the sky, by stars, by nature. I was amazed. I used to go out and catch lightning bugs in a little carrier that I had, a little mesh carrier that I just thought it was so neat. So what are some of those things in your life that bring out that curiosity? Maybe it's nature, maybe it's music, maybe it's art, whatever it is for you. Pause and think about that is still inside of you. But I think sometimes we move so far the other direction that we've forgotten how we got there. So for me, this sunrise and sunset, again, this vibe, this energy, it's scientifically proven to release serotonin and oxytocin whenever you look at the sunrise and sunset, but it's also great for circadian rhythm. So I could nerd out and go down the science side of all this. But what I've had to learn myself, just find joy in the beauty of it all. Don't focus on the science and don't go look at a sunset so that your serotonin level increases. Go enjoy the sunset because it's another sunset that you get to see. We don't know how many we have. So just stop and be amazed. Put your phone down. If you want to take a picture, take your picture. But put your phone down and just be. Because I think sometimes we're so focused on moving and going and doing, finding the moment to just be present in the moment. Because oftentimes in the middle of a storm, no matter what the storm is, whether it's in your mind, in your life, in your career, in your relationship, I want to be honest here and say that, yes, I'm a positive person. I try to find the better side of all the things, but don't be fooled. I have the full range of emotions, just like we did as a kid. But I want to kind of nudge you in thinking about this a little differently, is when you're going through a storm, maybe positivity isn't the way through it. Yes, we want to try to pour into you so that you can handle your storms better, not wish you didn't have all the storms because they're going to happen. Our goal is to try to prepare you. Like we said, go from where you are to where you want to be, but prepare you for every step. So instead of just focusing on positivity when you're going through something, the sunrise and sunset, the thing we actually need the most is presence. Presence in our own lives, the people that we get to have in our lives. That's what we loved the most as children, just the people around us. We just felt comfort being around people that we knew we could trust, that knew that they loved us. And maybe we need to also be that for ourselves. So maybe that moment in the storm or whatever it may be, whether it's a good day turning into a great day, maybe you just pay attention a little bit longer to the sunrise and sunset and be more present instead of just trying to focus on positivity and trying to be positive through everything. Now, what you'll recognize is when you're more present, you will naturally see more of everything instead of just the trouble and the adversity and the negative things about every situation. So being present actually cultivates positivity. but it's heavy when everybody else is trying to give you positivity when you're going through something. But maybe this moment, this presence in a sunrise and sunset, or maybe that presence in that fun music, are you creating something that you love? Maybe that's what we need the most during these times. Now, as we've already talked about, this idea of self-love, like, you know what? I'm going to do something just because I love to do it. That sounds simple, but oftentimes we judge the things that we love to do because somebody else doesn't love to do it. But whenever you start making decisions based off of things that you love to do, and you start to make decisions for yourself because you love yourself, like I said, that's probably the gap between knowing better and doing better. We've talked about it being purpose, but maybe that purpose, that next level of purpose, is because you love yourself, because you know you want to feel different. You know you want to have a different life, but not because you hate the old one, because you want one that you love. So when you start focusing, again, as a child, all of the things that you thought were possible and all of the creativity and the judge-free zones that you had, and you just act silly and dress however you want. And when you see that little boy dressed up as Batman with cowboy boots on and a baseball hat on, all he's just thinking is, I love Batman, cowboy boots, and a hat and the baseball hat. He's not worried about what somebody else thinks of him. But we let people along the way, we forget who we are because we pay attention to how much other people tell us who they think we are. But as a kid, we didn't care about that. So I want you to nurture more of that. Like, be your most authentic self, which is all versions of you, not just the version you want to be. We have to acknowledge where we are, but also acknowledge how we got here. Because maybe that inner child is just that authentic, curious, loving, energetic version of ourselves we need to remember is still inside of us. It's still there. We just have to move a couple things out of the way. Because once you start to do that, you start to move those things out of the way that maybe distracted you, that weighed you down. And then we start to think about more things that lift us up. When you lift yourself up, the discipline feels like an opportunity, not an obligation. The choices you're going to make in your relationships, in your career, in your own life are going to be different when they're rooted in self-love. Again, choose a life that you love because you know you deserve it. And choose a life to surround yourself with people that make you feel at your best. And there's a great quote that you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people that are around you. And I do that, and I say that out of love as well, because there's people in our lives that maybe aren't as positive as we'd like. And as kids, we didn't really have a choice, but now as adults, we do. But those are core people in our lives. So maybe it's not eliminate them. Maybe it's just intentionally spend time with them, because it's important to have those close relationships with people that you know that you can love and count on, and they also love and count on you. But it's also important to surround yourself with more people who just give you some energy, give you the vibes that make you want to be at your best. Again, not because you hate yourself, not because you hate things about your life, but because you love yourself and you want to love more things about the life you want to be living. My call to action is simple today. After you listen to this episode, go turn on some music, go watch a show, go do something that you loved to do as a child, and just be present. Don't judge it. I don't care what it is. And maybe nudge somebody else to do it as well. Because when we start to share what we love with other people, we start to share the jock jams with other people, it starts to bring out that thing in them. And then they start to think about things that they did as a kid, as maybe things they ate, maybe things they watched or listened to. And then it multiplies. And it all starts with you making the choice to embrace that inner child that we all have that maybe we've just forgotten about. So do that today. Do it maybe once a day. Maybe your car ride to work every day. Maybe the way you have a lunch break is maybe doing something fun for you, and then just see how you feel. Embrace that inner child, because he or she is in there just ready to get out, because it's pretty close. Whenever you start listening to some fun things or doing some creative things, you'll recognize it's pretty natural. So let's just move those things out of the way that maybe have distracted us. So I appreciate you listening to this episode. I hope it's impacted you and your inner child. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you always get these notifications to remember that you are constantly committed to your learning and your growth. And I'll remind you, like I do with every episode, that you always have the power and the choice to reshape your mindset, live with intention, and learn how to look at the world through a grateful lens. Until the next episode,